So what are you doing when you're asking for advice? If you're like me, then you probably are asking for advice at times when you're uncertain and you don't know what to do. So you would like someone to tell you what is a good thing for you to do in this uncertain time. Now, right now is a very uncertain time for almost everyone. And so it's even more important for us to figure out what it is that we should be doing in this uncertainty. And so the tendency is to go and ask advice. Makes sense, right? But what we're really doing when we ask for advice is not just asking indiscriminately what other people are doing, right? We're specifically asking people who we respect and who we value and who we trust for advice. And the advice they give is usually some form of what it is that has helped them in the situations they've been in that are like yours. So if you kind of boil that down to its essentials, what you're really asking for is a figure to imitate. You're looking for someone who you view as, let's say, heroic, and you're trying to see what are the heroic traits that they're embodying at the times that they're feeling uncertain that you could also embody. That's what advice is. You've been in this situation before. You have comported yourself admirably. How did you do that? What did you do? And the person may tell you. But it's also important for us to keep an eye out. We don't have access to all the people that we view as heroic, but we do have access to a large number of the activities that they engage in. We do get to see how they act under difficult circumstances. And by doing that, we can start to extract out something about what they're doing in those situations. When they hit a wall with their business, if they're in the middle of a difficult job search or they're looking for a new career, or they're just uncertain about something that they need to be doing next, what do? And if you ask that question when looking at the people you respect, when looking at your heroes, you'll actually be surprised that you'll find an answer. When I look to the people I admire, I look to people like my father. I look to people like my friends who have done things that are amazing with what they have. And I look to people like my mother. I look to people like my sister. I look to the people who I think comport themselves admirably in the world. And I also see that what they get from that is extremely valuable. And I realize that if I can perhaps emulate them in some way, imitate them in some way, particularly the ways that allow them to transcend the crises that I find myself in, then I can actually start to have those same results for myself, which expands out and helps people around me as well, just like they helped me. So I think the best advice, maybe it's meta advice, is to look to your heroes and do what they do. And I don't mean that in a shallow way, like if your hero trips over a curb, go trip over a curb. It takes some thought, right? What is it that they're doing on a grander scale? What are the traits that they're embodying? Are they being brave? How are they being brave? In what situations? And be specific. What does it look like to be brave in the middle of uncertainty? What do those people do that gets them through these times better than other people? It may not be a super easy question to answer, but it has an answer. And if you keep looking towards the sources of your admiration, towards the things you resonate with, towards the heroes that you admire, eventually you'll start to get a sense of what is the heroic. And then you can start to imitate it. I'm reading a fantastic book right now called The Master and His Emissary. And without getting too deep into it, one of the things that it talks about is how we're built on a platform that prioritizes imitation above almost everything else. If you want to evolve as species, having them genetically take on new traits as generations pass is a great idea. But it's even faster to have them be selected for the ability to imitate. And so we're imitation machines. Babies imitate adults to learn how to speak. That's how deeply ingrained this imitation gene is in us. So use it. Find something that inspires you. Find someone who inspires you and is heroic and is admirable, and try to do what they do in some small way. And don't judge yourself by their standard, but move in the direction of your values, move in the direction of those traits that they embody that you would like to embody. That's what you do in difficult times. That's what I do as much as I can when I'm feeling lost. And I think right now, a lot of people are feeling lost, and we could use some figure to emulate. So find that figure for yourself. And I wish you all the best.